How's the royal family? I pray that everyone is doing well. Well, my royal family, I know y'all are not surprised by the title of this video. And I know many know, but we're going to go into more detail of this massive tragedy that has happened over in the Bahamas. And I had put up a video the other day that the governor of Florida has already spoke his truth, how he truly feel about the Bahamians. And, you know, we're going to keep it core. We're going to keep it real raw. They don't want no black people in America at all. And Trump, one thing that I can say about Trump, he don't hide who he is, and always fully, my royal family, believe what a person say. And us being empathic and we feel what we feel, don't ever deny it, because the energy that I'm feeling is anger, but it's control, and I have a deeper message to leave to the enemy and the enemy's supporters. So, as we continue on, my royal family, it says here, Trump's administration reportedly won't offer temporary protective status to Bahamians displaced by Hurricane Dorian. Not going to read all of it, but I will read what some of us have already heard. Looks like Donald Trump fears of very bad people when it comes to Bahamians. Devastation by Hurricane Dorian may have killed any hope that the U.S. would do the right thing, offer temporary protective status to people who lost so much in the storm. And let me see, according to ABC News, citing an administration officials, the U.S. will not offer such humanitarian relief to Bahamians displaced by the hurricane. Now, one thing that we know about Trump, he has absolutely no empathy for a person when they are in the worst crisis or situation in their life. We see how he reacted to Puerto Rico, and the fool did not know Puerto Rico is part of the states, you know, because we know Trump, how he get his information. He watch TV. That, you know, he that's how he do stuff. He don't read or anything like that. And you know, we got to realize that we are dealing with a person that has his whole pineal gland is totally calcified, and that means that when your pineal gland is calcified, you lack any empathy for anyone. But what's so amazing about that, he is very thin-skinned and always up in his feelings. So as we continue on, I have two videos to play the royal family, and we're going to get deeper into this, so we can understand what this means, because it has some depths and levels. So the Trump administration isn't granting temporary protection for Bahamians, and so they're just saying the Trump administration will not grant temporary protective status to people of the Bahamas fleeing. Okay, I'm saying a repetitive thing, and it's actually what I'm going to read to y'all is going to be on the other article as we get in depth. So we'll just listen to this first video, because it's something I really want to point out.
Ellison Thompson is the Deputy Director General of the Bahamas Ministry of Tourism and Aviation. He joins us now by phone. Ellison, what is the main focus right now as these recovery efforts are underway?
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for having us. And at the moment, search and rescue is still ongoing. We've got to realize that this is a Category 5, a major storm that sat over the northern Bahamas for over 50 hours. And if you look at the geography of the Bahamas, we stretch for 750 miles from the tip of Florida down to Cuba. So the islands that were affected are two of the major islands in the northern Bahamas, Grand Bahama Island and Abaco. And all supplies have to get into those two islands, either via Nassau, out of Florida. So this is taking a little time to do.
It clearly needs a great deal of time to pick up and to help with recovery efforts. We know 43 people at least have died. Officials really expect that number to rise significantly, in their words. Can you tell us a little bit more about the death toll and what you expect?
Well, at the moment, as I said, there's 43 that are confirmed. The Minister of Health has indicated that is expected to rise, but we just have to wait until the official count comes through. Because what we don't want to do is, comment on numbers and then they're inaccurate, or we say somebody's dead and they're not. So we have to be very careful about that. So we just want to make sure that we have the official numbers that we're able to comment on.
And thousands of people are still looking for loved ones. What are the challenges right now that they're facing?
Well, the challenges are really that you had a Category 5 hurricane that sat there with 180 miles an hour sustained winds, gusts up to 220 miles for over 50 hours. So everything is pretty much devastated in those islands. So we have to wait to get moving equipment, chainsaws, bulldozers to get into those affected areas. And luckily, we've got great friends in the United States, your Coast Guard, your Navy, also the British, and also Caribbean neighbors who are helping us in this effort. It's really unprecedented for us. Our country has never had such a devastating hurricane.
We can just see the devastation in these images that we're seeing on our television screen, the recovery efforts, people trying to help as well. We know that the UN says almost 70,000 people are homeless in the Bahamas. What happens to those people? Obviously, it'll take a great deal of time to rebuild their homes.
Yeah, a number of those have been evacuated into Nassau and also some to our other islands, for example, Exuma, U.S.To, Cat Island. And also the United States government has allowed certain persons to come into the United States who have family members there. But in the meantime, the supplies that are coming in, we're asking for tents, generators, refrigerating units, so that those persons who have to stay in those islands can get a little bit more comfortable. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take a while.
And what can people do right now? So many people are watching the Bahamas and they want to help. How do they do that?
There's several ways they can do that. If you go to bahamas.com/relief, there's information about donations in terms of cash and items. But also come and continue to visit the Bahamas, because we need to make sure that the tourists' dollars keep flowing in so that money can be used to assist in recovery efforts.
Your agency oversees tourism in the Bahamas. Tourism, as you mentioned, a huge generator of revenue there for the economy. How do you think this is going to affect the economy there in the Bahamas?
Well, obviously, it will have some impact. For example, Nassau Paradise Island, which is a major area, that was unaffected. So visitors can come and visit us here. We've had cruise ships coming in since Friday. But if you look at the numbers between January to July 2019, there are about 2.6 million visitors who came to Nassau Paradise Island. Grand Bahama, one of the islands that was affected, they had about 415,000, and Abaco, 280,000. So you can see from those numbers that it will definitely have an impact on us. But luckily, the major touristic area is still intact. So visitors can very easily come to Nassau Paradise Island, to U.S.To, to Exuma, to Andros, Cat Island. So these islands are still open.
Allison Thompson, so grateful you can join us. Thank you for your time.
Okay, my royal family. So we're getting more of a close-up look at this utter devastation. It is literally breathtaking. Wow. It's something I'm not going to get used to even looking at. But let's get deeper into this. So, where's this article? Okay. This is what I want to say before I play this video. Not only will Trump not allow temporary status here in America, he won't even allow them to work on a temporary basis. Keep that on your frontal lobe. That speaks volumes when a motherfucker say, we don't want you here, and we don't even want you to work here. Basically saying, we don't want you to get any ideals that you want, that you are welcome here and might get an inkling to want to stay here, even though you're only granted temporary status. Keep that on your frontal lobe. So as we continue on.
Breaking news we're learning this hour, the Trump administration will not grant temporary protected status to people from the Bahamas displaced by Hurricane Dorian. The news comes as authorities there announce that there are now at least 2,500 people missing, 2,500 people as a result of Hurricane Dorian. NBC News' Julia Ainsley is here with more. Julia, I've watched your reporting yesterday on Morning Joe and other places, and it would appear that the worst case scenario for the victims of this hurricane has come to pass. Tell us about it.
It is, Nicole. So temporary protected status has been granted at this point to 10 countries. There are over 300,000 people in the United States now with temporary protected status. They've left things like Haiti's 2010 earthquake, and they're allowed to live here and work here until the U.S. deems it safe to return to their country. The U.S., looking at this damage here, has determined that this does not qualify for that kind of status.
How is that possible? I mean, I'm just looking at these pictures while you're talking. How is that possible, Julia?
It's not that it doesn't compare to some of the devastation that we've seen elsewhere. It's that this administration has a completely different way of looking at temporary protected status. It's something that people like Stephen Miller have been trying to crack down on for a while. There have been people, different groups that they have revoked temporary protected status to, even though they know the conditions and they aren't given the advice and the reports that show that the conditions have changed at all. They will still revoke this temporary protected status. What they do have is a way for people from the Bahamas to come here temporarily on visas. That is, if they can find their passports and visas in the middle of all of this destruction, they can come to the United States temporarily, but that's very temporary and they cannot work. Temporary protected status would allow someone really to stay in the country for years, sometimes 10 or 15 years. We've seen people stay and they really plug into the community and almost become like Americans after they leave those countries. That will not be granted to the people from this place, which is devastating for them. If they're going to try to wait out however long it takes for the recovery of such devastation, they're going to need to be able to work in order to do that. And right now the United States is saying that the State Department will not be authorizing or requesting temporary protected status on their behalf.
It's unbelievable. Garrett, you said a couple minutes ago that the immigration issue cuts differently in Texas. I mean, I don't think that warning or scaring or fear-mongering about people from the Bahamas sounds like a particularly winning message in any battleground state, let alone in Texas. Is this the kind of sort of overreach on a topic like immigration that you're hearing on the campaign trail may have gone too far for some voters?
We'll have to wait and see. I wonder if something like this just becomes part of the drip, drip, drip of whatever the latest sort of off-the-wall thing from the White House is, that people start to tune out. It is wholly consistent with every other restrictionist immigration policy that this president has made. I have a hard time imagining that any Democrat or Democrat-leaning voter who didn't think the president's immigration policies were crazy before would look at this and think, aha, perhaps this is the moment he's gone too far. But it is fully in line with what Democrats have said is essentially a totally heartless immigration policy, and I'm sure we'll hear more about it from the Democratic candidates.
I mean, Eddie, I guess the difference is no one in the Bahamas was trying to come here. Right. Their homes were obliterated. I mean, the pictures that we're showing, it looks like a nuclear blast. So the difference between sort of the bucket of cruel and incompetently executed immigration policies is that no one from the Bahamas was trying to come here for a better life. They were happy in the Bahamas by and large, but they are now homeless because their homes have been wiped out.
So politics aside, this is evil. This is cruel. Any idea of the country as kind of this moral beacon to the world? This contradicts it quite clearly, right?
This is what made America great, is that we were always there at moments like this.
Well, but not for black people.
Well, exactly, because, and I'm going to apologize in advance for this, Donald Trump thinks of the Bahamas as a shithole country. and he doesn't want people from those countries to come here. And so, yeah, it's hard. It is hard to escape that because it is the callousness, it is the cruelty, it is the unchristian attitude. Where are, I mean, we ask this, where are the Christians on all this? But a certain point is, what is your Christianity? If you look at those pictures and say, we are not there for you, we are not going to provide some sort of assistance for you. So it's un-American, it's un-Christian, and unfortunately, I do think that there will be people who will be disgusted by this. I don't know how many people will be disgusted by it, but you're right, And
I think at the same time, Charlie, there will be a whole bunch of people who won't.
Yeah.
And we ask ourselves the question, what does that say about who we are? Because that's cruel. That's not only cruel, that's evil. And we need to call it for what it is. That's evil.
Certainly unbelievable. My thanks to Julia Ainsley.
All right, my royal family. I'm feeling the brother totally. And when I was saying I wanted to read it to y'all, it was on my other computer, an article I had already pulled up, and they pretty much said it, but I like to overemphasize it. So I'm reading out of, let me see, which one is this one here? NBC News. And again, Bahamians can still come to the U.S. temporarily if they have the right travel documents, but will not be granted work permits. As of Monday, 1,500 victims of Dorian came to the U.S. after hurricane swept through the Bahamas. All right. So now, as we continue on here, we ain't heard shit. We ain't heard shit from the Democratic Party, from these motherfuckers right here, that's literally lying through their teeth and thinking they gonna end up being the president again. And we ain't lost sight of ADOS at all. And trust and believe these candidates like hiding behind things like this. Now, I don't steal people's talking points. I'm getting this directly from Lisa Cabrera's channel. It had slipped my mind, but she had brought it up earlier this week about the Democratic Party. They are squawking about the immigrants in Mexico, how inhumane it is for children to be put in this type of condition or separated from their families. But when it comes to the royal family, it takes on a different meaning, because our royals are suffering even more so. Like the reporter said, these people weren't trying to come to this shithole that we live in. I mean, it literally looked like an atomic bomb hit the country. And most people get very homesick and they want to be back home. But people are in total shock. And so the Democratic Party want to, they want to greatly help the immigrants in Mexico with our tax dollars, people that we have not voted in at all. And so this is what the Democratic Party is concerned with. The Democrats want to offer health care to undocumented immigrants here. What does that mean? What that means is that comes out of our money. We pay taxes here. They ain't asking us permission for shit. They just figure that they can do whatever they want to do with our tax dollars, But then our folks get obliviated here, and now all of a sudden, oh, no, we can't have that. And trust and believe, if these folks could stay in their country, they would. But they leaving a clear ass message, because I didn't hear anybody say anything about that the immigrants that come from Mexico, even though they don't want some of them here. Oh, it's fine for them to work here. It's fine. Ain't that deep? They don't even want you to work. You just asshole out. Because once they can start getting shit settled, trust and believe it's going to be tons of work over in the Bahamas for our brothers and sisters. But see, this is a money grab, my royal family, and I know how to get down. My expertise is construction. So you will see more of the enemy over there with greed and glean, and they can't wait to get over there and start making that money off of the construction. And they need to be hiring the very people here in their native land. Look at what they did in Puerto Rico. Let's not lose sight. But we are going to focus on just our own and stuff. And so the message that I'm leaving the enemy and the enemy supporters, I want you to feel, I want you to absorb what I am speaking clearly into the universe, talking to our Father, Yah, that everything evil that you have projected on the royal family and continue to project on the royal family, you have long ago accepted the laws pertaining to projecting evil on folks in the spirit world in a whole different realm. My royal family, what we are about to see as I speak is going to rock the enemy and the enemy supporters literally to their core, because the burn and the anger that I feel to the depths of my souls to see our people suffer in this fashion, to see our royal babies sleeping on grounds and crying, and our babies that have died over there, and then you're gonna kick them when they down. Like I said, we are at war. This is a true war, and our war comes in layers. And anytime the enemy has an opportunity to catch you at your worst state, they will stomp on you further. So pay attention to this and stop looking for the enemy to make you whole. If this don't wake you up, nothing will ever wake you up. And then the other thing that I want to leave the royal family, there are, unquote, good people that are individually going over there and doing what needs to be done. But don't be overly, profusely thanking them and going overboard with it, because it's the right thing to do. And that's something that I don't like about the enemy. When you're doing the right thing that a human being is supposed to do, and you're supposed to overthink them and over this, and everything has to be exaggerated, because the enemy can be complex, where they want to be the hero. They want to be the one to save you. And then they want you to bow down to them and say, look what I have done. Because that the enemy is very, very cunning, my royal family. Very cunning. They'll feed you. They'll kill you. They'll stab you in the back. They'll poison you. And they will do all kind of things. It's a mixed bag with them. We appreciate whoever is helping the royal family over there. But don't get neurotic with it, because if it happened to the enemy, and it will happen to the enemy, because I have already spoke that in the universe as I speak, they're going to be wanting the same exact thing. But see, they figure that we can tolerate pain more than anybody. You know, we can take on this because we're so childlike that this don't really affect our psyche. This stuff is affecting people's psyche. People have watched their family members die. People have tried to save family members and have gotten sucked out in the ocean. Some people know they done lost their entire family. I've been watching tons of videos directly from the Bahamas. So Esau, you long ago sealed your fate. But now what you're doing is you're putting even more so icing on the cake. And the one thing that I like that Trump do is he fully represents his folks to the core. Now, this is who they is. But he keep it real. He keep it raw like I do. And as pissed off as I am, I respect it. Trust and believe. I don't respect him or any of them, but I respect it for what it is. I'm honoring my emotions. I can only speak from my emotions. I'm good at what I do because I come from the royal family. I'm not an arrogant person. Might sound arrogant, but no, very, very humble because I'm very angry. But I'm very clear in my thinking. Thank you, Esau. Thank you for showing on the world stage who you truly is. And I thank you, Father Yah, for handpicking Trump. I thank you. And I also thank you for choosing Thank you, Yah. I thank you for your mercy and grace. I'm going to have to leave it there, my royal family, because I am deep in my emotions. I can only speak within thyself. And to see the continuous pain and punishment that we have had to deal with. We tired, Yah. We want to go home. We tired. We are out of our captivity. And it's just time. It's just that time for us to get rest. And the other thing I want to add, my royal family, we have a major full moon, and mark my words as I speak that the disasters is going to increase in things that we will not be able to fully fathom. Our psyche won't even be able to handle it. It's like looking at this, even though we're not physically there, it's fucking with my psyche. This is what you do to royalty. Make a mockery of Yahweh's children. You made a mockery of Yahweh Shai. And let's not lose sight, when they made a mockery of Yahweh Shai, they put the royal colors on them. Those colors are so sacred, my royal family, that I found out a few months ago. It's a sin for anybody to wear them. We're the only ones allowed. Our Father is not to be made a mockery and to continue to do his children in this fashion. It's quite upsetting. But we must continue to demonstrate full faith and stay very firm, very direct, very prayed up, and continue to deal with your immediate situation. So I'll leave it there, my royal family. Render your voice with your beautiful divine words. And as always, my royal family, I thank you for your love. I thank you for your support. And with that said, Ashe.